Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the show, East-West show of G&E TV. Jack Xiao is hosting. Well, today we're talking about the visa, how do you call it? The visa new policies?
Yeah, the new policies.
The new visa controls that mutually announced by China and the United States, right? Over business travel, or tourism travel, stuff like that. And today joining me is my good friend, Dr. Ku Lingyuan Ku. He's been himself involved in going back and forth between the United States and China, doing business, doing his financial consulting business for quite some time. He probably is the right one to talk about it. So. Welcome, Dr. Ku, to the show.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
It's my pleasure to see you again.
Thanks.
Right? So, under what circumstances has this new plan, mutual plan, being released by both countries?
Well, to me, I think this policy definitely comes from some very interesting points which are beneficial to both sides, from China and from US. From 30 years ago, probably more than 30 years ago, these two countries have so many economic events going on, and the direct consequence we would see is so many people, they should come back and forth between these two countries.
They visit each other quite often, right?
Exactly. Okay. And based on the older policy, it introduced a lot of inconvenience, especially for B1 and B2. And B1 we talk about as a business
visitor. What is B1
visitor.
or B2?
Yeah, B1 typically.
To most of my audiences, they do not even know that.
Oh yeah, that's right. And B1 typically, and we call it business visa. And for those people, and they do business between these two countries, and they're supposed to apply the B1 type of visa. And for B2, most likely is for tourism and also to see the relatives in each country. For example, like for parents visiting, and it's considered as B2.
I see.
Or for tourism, it's also considered to be B2.
I see.
Yeah, and based on the previous policy, it's a 1 year multiple entrance, which is okay. The maximum, yes. Okay. It's okay, but after 1 year, and the people have to reapply again, and that's definitely not the best interest for the people living in these two countries.
Okay. All right, okay. Yeah. So my question was, under what kind of circumstances? So why didn't it happen 10 years ago? Why didn't it happen 5 years ago? Why didn't it happen like a year ago?
Right.
Why is it happening now?
Yeah. Let me pick up what I talked about before. I would think there will be two factors. Those two factors are very important. Number one, the economic growth from both countries and the corresponding economic events and the business between these two countries grow exponentially, and that requires more convenience way for people from these two countries to visit each other. That's number one. And number two, and back to the Cold War time, and China, US did not believe each other, and they manually put a lot of obstacles between these two bilateral relationship. But currently, I think after 30 years, the open door policy of China and the US, these two countries actually establish more and more trust between these two countries. And I think that are the two most important factors.
Okay. Yeah. So in addition to economical elements or factors and the relationship factors, do you see political factors?
Well,
politics does not play anything in the role?
Politics is always a factor, but I don't think politic factors currently is a very important component in this, because we actually look at what we call the multiple directions. Economy is one, politics is another one, education, a lot of things, tourism. And if you want to look at the big picture, and you should combine all these factors together. So even politics maybe 30 years ago was an issue, and now I just see the impacting factor is getting less and less.
I see, I see. In other words, it is the economy, it is the relationship that push forward this decision, this new policy.
Yes.
Rather than politics makes it a deal.
Truly.
Am I right?
Truly, I believe that.
All right, okay. So looking at that though, the international situation, how much kind of a role does that play in this decision, in this new policy?
First, let me
I
just...
know you travel internationally,
Exactly.
not only China, United States, you travel also other
the rest of
countries,
the
right?
world, yes.
The rest of the world. So what do you see as a situation or environment that calls for it? So internationally, what kind of a role does it play?
I see. First, I would like to introduce one number. And I remember in 2013, which is just a year ago, there is totally 4 million people, and they come back and forth between these two countries. And out of these 4 million people, there are about 70 to 80% of the people, they apply for the B1 and the B2 visa.
To the United States.
To United States, and or like for American to visit China.
I see.
So you can imagine there are like more than 2.8 million people, and they have to do that at least every year, because after 1 year the visa automatically expired. And that definitely put a lot of trouble. And that's not only just between these two countries, and that's also we call a negative example for the rest of the world, right? Because American always consider they have a lot of convenience to go to the rest of the world, right? For example, you go to European Union, no problem, and you just buy a ticket and you go, right? It's automatically considered, and you go to Australia, New Zealand, the same, but go to China is not the same thing. So currently, if we see the new policy kick in, and that is going to bring a lot of positive factors for the rest of the world to issue or change the new policy for Chinese citizens. And then now, if you look at the Chinese people, they go to European countries, or they go to Australia or New Zealand, or even go to Latin America, they still have to go through a lot of troubles. And if they see US changes the policy, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm already seeing the changes like from Korea and from Japan, a lot of countries, and these are going to introduce a lot of convenience for the rest of the world too.
In other words, what Dr. Gu is saying is that when you happen to be in the time and epoch whereby the digital technology put everybody together, shortens all the distances, and even shortens your concept, right? Shortens it by timing, by everything. So you have a tendency, you're looking at a tendency of people coming together rather than being separated.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So as versus to this trend though, what you see, which is really a surprise, that goes oppositely, and absolutely the opposite way to still keep the rules, binding people, dividing people, and make visit more difficult. So these are two factors going different positions opposing each other.
That's right.
So is that you were saying that the trend of this world nowadays is trying to go the digital way, which shortens distances rather than the paper way, which separates people?
Absolutely. Everyone has been called the Earth, the global village, and we're going to say the global citizenship is also very important. And currently, this new policy is just one way to push the envelope forward.
I see. And it's very positive internationally, regardless of what country. Am I right?
Regardless of what type of country, and I think this policy, this type of the similar policy, should play more and more important role.
And also, do you see as a role model for other countries internationally to follow?
Yeah.
And they look at China and United States.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do that already. Why don't we do it?
That's what we call the positive example for the rest of the other countries to follow.
Very good. Positive example, right?
Yes.
So now when we look at ourselves, of course, as Americans, we have the privilege to visit any country without a visa. Right?
Exactly.
We can go to Europe anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
As long as it's not a working visa, it's not a student visa. Yeah.
So no. You just go there for tourism.
Yeah, for tourism, yes, that's
for
right.
sightseeing.
Yeah, but
to
if
have
for
fun,
study, yeah, for
to
work.
celebrate your birthday, to get married over
Absolutely.
somewhere by Eiffel Tower or something, you choose.
Yes,
Right.
that's
So
right.
this is the benefit we have.
Yes.
So looking around us, around people though, the same global citizens though, others do not have it.
That's right.
So for Chinese to visit say France, right? Say Italy,
They have to go through very-
exactly step by step.
Exactly.
Fill out the form or whatever, going there. They denied first time, denied second time, endless denies or things like that,
Yeah.
which are obstacles to your right?
That's right. Totally agree.
Sure. All right, my dear audience, today we take this opportunity to talk about a new policy being announced by both countries, the United States and China, to loosen up the visa control to tourism and to business visit by lightening or prolong their visa period from such point to how long we find out. We will find out when we come back. Joining me is my good friend, Dr. Ling Yun Gu. He is a multi-talent. Right? He is involved in several fields. And right now, he's doing financial study, and he's putting deals together between United States and China and many other countries around. So that's why he travels much. He gets the right to say this because he's the one traveling. Right now, stay with us. We'll take a moment. We'll be right back.